In this video, we are going to see about the algorithm. So, algorithm means a set of finite rules or instructions to be followed in calculations or other problem solving operations. Otherwise, we can define the algorithm. It is a procedure for solving a mathematical problem in a finite number of steps that frequently involves recursive operation. So mainly here we are going to briefly see about the algorithm. So what is the algorithm? It is defined as a process or a set of well-defined instructions that are typically used to solve the particular group of problem or perform a specific type of calculation. Okay, it is used to solve the particular group of problem or the specific type of calculation, and it contains a set of operations performed in a step-by-step manner to execute the task. It is a set of operations performed in a step-by-step manner to execute the task. So what is the need of an algorithm? So the algorithm is necessary for solving the complex problem efficiently and effectively. Okay, it is used to solve the complex problem efficiently as well as effectively. And next, it will help to automate process and make them more reliable, faster and easier to perform. They help to automate the processes, okay, that makes more reliable, faster, easier to perform. And this algorithm also enable the computer to perform the task that would be difficult or impossible for the human to do manually. So which are the process not done by the human manually. So but that will be done by the algorithm. And they are used in a various field like mathematics, computer science and engineering, finance and many other optimized process, analyze data and make prediction and provide the solution to the problems. Okay, in many cases we are using this particular algorithm. Next we will see what is the characteristics of an algorithm. So as one would not following any instruction, for example, if you are going to cook any recipe, but you doesn't have any instruction, it doesn't know any instruction to cook that particular recipe, means it is not at all possible to do. The same similarly, not all written instruction for programming or an algorithm. For some instruction to be an algorithm, it must follow some of the characteristics. So the first characteristic is clear and unambiguous. So the algorithm should be unambiguous. So each of its steps should be clear in all aspects and must lead to only one meaning. Okay, each of its steps should be clear in all aspect and must lead to only one meaning. And next one is well defined input. So if an algorithm says to take an input, it should be well defined input. Okay, if an algorithm says to take the input, it should be well defined input. So it may or may not take an input. The next one is well defined output. So the algorithm must clearly define what output will be yield, and it should be well defined as well. Okay. So if the algorithm must clearly define the output, what output will be yield, and it should be well defined as well. And it should produce at least one output. It should produce at least one output. Then finiteness. So an algorithm must be finite. So it should terminate after a finite time. So algorithm must be finite. So that is, it should terminate after the finite time. The next one is a feasible. So the algorithm must be simple, generic and practical such that it can be executed with the available resources. Okay. Algorithm must be simple, generic and practical such that it can be executed with the available resources, and it must not contain some future technology or anything. It should not contain some future technology or anything. The next one is a language independent. So the algorithm design must be language independent. So that is, it must just plain instruction that can be implemented in any language, and yet the output will be the same as the expected. Okay, so we can use for the instruction we can use any type of language, and yet output will be the same as the expected. The next one, input and the output. An algorithm has a 0 or more input. Algorithm has a 0 or more input. Each that contains the fundamental operator must accept the 0 or more input. Then output means an algorithm produce at least one input. Okay, it must produce at least one input, and every instruction that has a fundamental operator must accept the 0 or more input. The next one is definiteness. So all the instruction in an algorithm must ambiguous, precise and easy to interrupt. So by referring to any of the instruction in an algorithm, one can clearly understand what to be done, and every fundamental operator in an instruction must be defined without any ambiguity. Then finiteness. So an algorithm was terminated after the finite number of steps in all the test cases. Okay, it should be terminated in a finite number of steps in all the test cases. So every instruction which contains the fundamental operator must be terminated within a finite amount of time, and input loops or recursive functions without a base condition do not possess the finiteness. Then last one is the effectiveness. An algorithm must be developed by using very basic, simple and feasible operations, so that one trace it out by using just a paper or a pencil. So my algorithm must be developed by using very basic, simple and feasible operations, so that one can trace it out using just paper or a pencil. So these are the characteristics of the algorithm. The next one is the properties of algorithm. So every algorithm should terminate after the finite time. Okay, so there should be a termination after the finite time, and it should produce at least one output. Okay, so sometimes there may be no input, but at least it should contain one output, and it can take 0 or more input. Okay, it can take 0 or more input, and it should be deterministic, means giving the same output for the same input case. It means giving the same output for the same input cases, and every step in the algorithm must be effectively. So every step should do some work. Okay, whatever steps available in the algorithm, every step do some work. And if you consider the types of algorithm, means there is many types of algorithm, like brute force algorithm, recursive algorithm, backtracking algorithm, searching algorithm, then sorting algorithm, hashing, divide and conquer algorithm, greedy algorithm, then dynamic programming algorithm and randomized algorithm. So these are the different algorithms, and the advantages of algorithm is it is easy to understand. Okay, so it is easy to understand. An algorithm is a stepwise representation of a solution to a given problem. Okay, it is a stepwise representation of the solution to the given problem. And in an algorithm, the problem is broken down into the smaller pieces or steps. Hence, it is easier for the programmer to convert that into the actual program. So here we have to break down into the smaller pieces or steps. Hence, it is easier for the programmers to convert into the actual program. And the disadvantage is writing an algorithm takes a long time, so it is time consuming. It will take more time to write the algorithm. Then understanding the complex logic through the algorithm can be very difficult. Then the branching and looping statements are difficult to show in the algorithm.